Okay, good morning everyone. Buddha said one thing and the only thing that he teaches is human suffering and the path to end it. That might be one of the reasons that I loved Buddhism among various spiritual traditions. So I was eventually ordained in Won Buddhism as a Won Buddhist minister around 20 years ago. But whether it's in Won Buddhism or in Zen Buddhism, questioning mind is emphasized, particularly in Zen Buddhism, the spiritual question, it's called koan, is really important. For example, in the Rinzai Zen tradition, masters recommend their students to contemplate, work with the koan 24/7. In that particular tradition, when they practice sitting meditation, instead of working with our breathing, they usually contemplate the koan. Koan is a spiritual question that looks like a riddle, but abstruse a question, like what body did I have before my parents were born? One of a pretty well-known koan. Or what's the sound of one hand clapping? These are ultimately the question about our true self, the ultimate reality. What's the reality of our mind? But when I first heard about koan study or koan practice, to me it's not appealing. It has nothing to do with solving some practical problem, like anger problem, relational problem, low self-esteem, bad habits, etc. Yeah. But how do you think? What is the root cause of our problem? But jealousy, comparing mind, anger issue, whatever thing it is, what is the root cause of them?
Sense of self.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you can say various things, but as Ellen pointed out, the root cause of all our problem originate from our sense of self, our ego, or our notion of selfhood is the root problem of all our issues. In that sense, in many traditions, like know thyself, or the truth will set you free, etc., it's a very important, fundamental thing. All the realized teachers said, when we know our true self, who we really are, which is very different from our conventional belief, then we can be free from all suffering and distress. Knowing our true self, let's call that awakening or enlightenment. That leads us not to alleviate our suffering, but it's like severing the root of the suffering. That's why Buddhism is the religion of enlightenment. Buddhism is an English translation of the Chinese word Bulgyo. Bulgyo literally means the path to enlightenment. The way out of the trap is to study the trap. So let's investigate who I am. To what do we identify ourselves? It's not intellectual, metaphysical question. It's a very practical one. As long as we would like to have freedom of mind or happiness, which is not momentary but perpetual. For example, I'm tall, I'm short, I'm sad, I'm doctor, nurse, I'm depressed, I'm happy, etc. We put many things before I am. But our identification can be categorized roughly in these three categories. I'm short, I'm sick, I'm healthy, I'm weak, strong, I'm black, I'm white. In this context, what does I mean? I'm healthy, tall, weak, strong, man, woman, black, white. It's related with our body. Body. Sometimes we say that I'm smart, I'm lazy, I'm happy, I'm angry, sad, I'm frustrated, I'm introvert, extrovert. Here, what does I mean? I is related to what? Our mind. Our mind. Or, I'm a son, I'm a mother, I'm a student, I'm a Christian, I'm an engineer, I'm Buddhist, I'm an artist, etc. What does I mean here? Is it related to? Yeah.
Society.
Yeah. Some more relationship or some role in this society, etc. So basically, based on these, our body, our mind, our role, etc., our image is formed. And our sense of self is created based on these things. What is our life? In short, we can say, to improve this image, to better, or to defend this image is how we live this life. This is the driving force of our life, to better our image. But is these things, whether it's a body, mind, or social role, our job, is that our true self? Is that the real me? That's something we needed to investigate, to think about this morning. Particularly my job, my role, like I'm employee, I'm an engineer, teacher. Even though you change your job, you can be married, you can be divorced, but we still think just my occupation, my situation is changed. My true me, self remain the same. Many people think in that way. Or let's just think about our body. When you gain a lot of weight or lose a lot of weight, do you think you are changed? Your true self? After some facelift, do you think you are really changed? We just think, just it's my body that's changed. Or what about my mind? Mind is just a name or concept for sensations, perceptions, impulses, consciousness. These are all kinds of mental faculties. Whether it's our emotion, thoughts, impulse, the reality is each and every moment it's constantly changing. You may say, wow, I was sad yesterday all day long. But each and every moment, the quality or the sensation of sadness was changed. For example, when you meditate, sometimes the itching or tingling sensation arises in your body. When you try to focus on that sensation, each and every second, the quality, the intensity of that sensation is constantly changing. So, our mental faculty is also impermanent. It arises depending on conditions and vanishing constantly. I usually say this thing about, in order to understand the reality of our mind, the reality of ourselves, it is very important and convenient to divide these two words. What is a concept? What is a reality? For example, we are making kimchi after lunch today. Does a vegetable exist? When I say, for example, Kathy, does a vegetable exist?
Yes and no.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's view this from this perspective. What really exists is radish, Chinese cabbage, carrot, garlic. These are something that really exist. Vegetable is just a label, a concept for this group. Makes sense? Yeah, you answered very well. Yes. Or the same example, when I say, for example, Allison, does a color, white, black, yellow, does color exist?
Same answer.
Yeah. Yeah. What really exists is yellow, gray, red, black, white. These are something existent. So color, that's just a concept, a name. Likewise, when you say mind, many people believe or think there is some soul, spirit, mind, whatever you label that. Some unchanging entities are there. From that ground comes out sensations, perceptions, impulses, consciousness arise. But the reality is our mind is just a concept. It's not the reality. What really exists is sensations, perceptions, impulses, and consciousness. Whether it's a visual consciousness, olfactory consciousness, or tactile consciousness, it's constantly changing. So, we are just an aggregate of our body and mind. When we say, my mind, or my body, what does that mean? We believe or presuppose there is some entity, invisible entity, where our mind and the body belongs. That's why we say my body, my mind. So that's just an illusion. That kind of thing does not exist. In other words, our ego, our sense of self is a mental construct, not the reality. There is no permanent, separate, fixed entity called I. Well, Master, I would like to quote this thing. There is no permanent entity that carries over from lifetime to lifetime, or even from this moment to that moment. Buddha described what we are as actions without actor, doings without doer. Does this make sense? Yeah. In older days, people believed the earth is flat. When European merchants buy and sell lots of spices from India, they made tons of money. But when they go to the east to reach India, they tended to encounter very hostile Arab countries. Some people thought about that. Why don't we sell to the west if the earth is round? So Columbus was one of the persons who tried that. Instead of go to India, he said sail not to the east, he sailed to the west, because the earth, he believed, is round. So what did he discover? Ocean trade route. He discovered America, a new world. So when our conventional belief, whether it is the belief that the earth is a flat or whatever thing, when our conventional belief of the existence of our ego disappears, the new world we can encounter, the new world is complete liberation and freedom, so-called enlightenment. So what I said is some intellectual explanation of no self or anatta or emptiness, which are all the ultimate reality of these things. What does Buddha mean? Buddha means the awakened one, the enlightened one. Enlightened to the ultimate reality. Without your asking, without the questioning mind, you cannot get the answer. So meditation is important, but as much as important for us to attain enlightenment or complete liberation is from time to time to contemplate the reality of ourselves, the reality of who am I. So, not like in the Rinzai tradition, we do not have to contemplate the quantum spiritual question 24/7, but it's very important. Study scripture and on and off to contemplate the koan or some spiritual question that arise in our mind. Okay, thank you.